Greetings from the south rim of the Grand Canyon, where I'll be hiking today down one of the most popular trails here known as the Bright Angel Trail. Now, I don't plan on hiking all the way to the bottom down to the Colorado River today, but I do plan on going quite a ways in because I want to give you a taste of what hiking the canyon is like and to show you that it is doable and very enjoyable. So if you want to find out what it's like, stick around and let's go do this. You already have to watch your step right in the beginning. Mules have been here for sure. Alrighty, I'm taking the first few steps here down the Bright Angel Trail. Okay, so this tells you some distances, and what I was kind of thinking today was heading down to Indian Garden, which is 4.6 miles. I'm assuming that's one way. I mean, that could be like a 9-mile hike. There are some rules here. Whenever you encounter mules, you need to yield to the mules. And don't step in what the mules leave here. You do get some very spectacular views from right down inside the canyon. And if you look way down there, where all that greenery is, I think that's Indian Garden. That would be 4.6 miles from where I'm at now. And that's where I'd like to go today. We'll see. Now, you do want to get an early start doing this. It's nice and cool right now. But one thing to note, in the Grand Canyon, the further you go down in the canyon, the hotter it actually gets. And there's very little shade down there. Right now we're being shaded by these cliffs, but as the sun rises, that's gonna change pretty quickly. Now, one thing that I would advise you on is, having done this a few times myself, as you're walking down, it's a piece of cake. Except to watch where you step really, but it doesn't really require a lot of energy. So a lot of people get overly optimistic, and I've seen that happen. And then they have to turn around and come back up. And that's where the real fun begins, because it is up almost the entire time with no break. Now you can see the trail itself is pretty nice, well maintained. Not really that steep, so you don't have to worry about anything too technical. It's just more a test of endurance, really. Now you can really see how the clouds and shadows and light all play very nicely together down here. It's quite a beautiful sight. And right down there you could just see this trail that we're on just twisting and turning, and then eventually going between those two canyon walls over to the Indian Garden. So this trail has a little bit of history behind it. It was actually originally a trail used by the natives that lived in this area in order to get down to that spring down there. And you got some of these brazen little squirrels looking for a free ride here. So on these early parts of the trail, you know, you'll notice people of all ages, fitness levels. It's kind of funny too, because people are smiley and chatty on the way down, but on the way back up, not so much chattiness. It's interesting too, already having descended just a slight ways, you know, you could see once again, that's about as far as we've descended, which is not trivial. I do see a lot less people. So I imagine some people would like to just kind of come in a little bit and then turn around, which I think is great. I think anything you can do, as far as you can go, you do get very unique and unobstructed views of the canyon, so it's well worth it. And the trail just keeps winding and winding. We'll be down there in just a moment. Now, if you're watching this and wondering, how far can you go? Can you walk all the way down to the bottom of the canyon where the Colorado River is? So the answer is yes, you absolutely can hike to the bottom, although it is heavily discouraged. And oftentimes you'll run into rangers here, and I'm sure I will later today, that'll ask you what your intent is and try to deter you. Just another quick elevation check. You can see my target, those groups of trees down there, they are getting ever so closer. We still have to walk a long way down this canyon to get there. Look, looks like we have our first little checkpoint down here. I believe there's restrooms there and probably water. This is the 1.5 mile rest house where they have water, an emergency phone to call 911 if you need to, as well as toilets. And here are the restrooms. Looks like we have a little line. That line went fast. It's probably like a 5-minute wait to use the restroom. There are 3 toilets in there, no running water, nothing fancy, but it got the job done. You can get a really good view of the trail from up here. You see what looks like little ants walking down. I'll be down there soon enough. And there we had it. There were the rangers kind of talking to folks, trying to find out what their intent is for the day. I got to sneak by because they were too occupied answering questions, but I did hear them recommending that those folks turn back up at this point. And just so you know too, they can't stop you. They can't force you not to go. But I guess it's good to just have a voice of reason talking to you. But here's why it's so worth hiking down here. You just get such a different perspective of the canyon because you're in it, you're not on top of it. Something that you just can't get standing at the top. Another good view of those cliffs. Way up there. Oh my goodness. We've come a long way. So I can see a difference definitely past that 1.5 mile rest way back there, as well as past the rangers that were cautioning people. I see a lot more fit people at this point. I may be among those of the most unfit at this point. Now you gotta watch where you step, because there are mule droppings everywhere down here, and they definitely look like they passed through pretty recently. Now the mule droppings aren't a big deal at all. It just smells kind of grassy. The smell isn't that strong. It's the puddles of mule urine that really gets you, especially those that have been sitting out in the hot sun for a while. Ugh. So one thing for sure, as the days going on and I get further and deeper down into the canyon, the shade is pretty much just melting away. There's really not much at this point. So another tip, be sure to bring sunscreen. You're gonna need it. The next little rest area, probably with bathrooms and water, I assume. Maybe a ranger wanting to have a discussion with me. We'll see. But then, yeah, the Indian Garden, that little lush oasis. I want to do it. I want to do it bad. And there's some more perspective of where we came from. Way up there. And here we are at the 3 Mile Rest House. So I'm 3 miles in now at the 3 Mile Rest Point, and it's the moment you've all been waiting for, the eating of the peanut butter and honey sandwich. I figured I needed to get some energy in me now while I'm still walking downhill to get all that peanut buttery nutrients into my blood system for that hike back up. Whoa. I don't think you're supposed to feed these guys. I'm not going to encourage bad behavior here. They seem very well fed and plump. maybe even a little overweight. And there's your restrooms up there. Looks like the same setup that we saw at the 1.5 mile stop. All right, I fueled up with my sandwich, had some Gatorade, and now I'm ready to continue. Gone 3 miles already, and we're still descending. You can see the perspective is much different from way down here in the canyon. You know, I always have a moment when I'm doing these kind of things, and I've gotten myself really far down here. The thought is, Glenn, are you really sure you know what you're doing? In fact, the thing that it just gets kind of strange is all of a sudden you go from seeing very few people to nobody, and you're here alone, and you wonder, is it just me? Yeah. There's a deer down here. You see that? It's like a baby. Let's see if I can get a better look. Oh look, there's the mother. The baby's actually right behind that bush. How the heck did you guys get down here? That's what I want to know. I always have pretty good luck recently on these wilderness adventures, seeing wildlife. Deer, elk. What's gonna be next? Such an amazing sight. You just see the clouds, the shadow of the clouds traversing across that cliff wall. But can you see how much the vegetation has changed from before? A lot more like grasslandy now, very dry looking. A lot of the plants down here look very dry. Probably need some rain. It's a high pressure water line. Keep off, no stunts. We're not gonna be trying to balance ourselves walking across that now. And there you go, that's a really good view. Kind of backed up a ways from that wall. Oh boy, that's gonna really be tough going back up there. Well, that was pretty neat. I just heard the sound of a train horn, what I assume is the Grand Canyon Railway, probably arriving here for the day. I doubt that you can hear that, but the sound like echoes off the cliff walls. It's pretty neat. But anyway, that was a really fun trip, a really fun day, and we actually documented it. And if you want to see our video on the Grand Canyon Railway, I'll put a link in the description down below so you can check that out. All right, I think we are very close to my planned destination. Ah, hooray, at last. Welcome to the Indian Garden. Or I'm sorry, welcome to Indian Garden. This is basically an oasis, and it was seasonally farmed by native people for centuries, it says. Looks like you have a campground here, and toilets, water, and a day use area up ahead. Gonna check the campground out. That's awesome. Being amidst all these trees in the shade, you forget that you're deep down in the Grand Canyon. That campground looks so nice. Like you've got all these little pavilions here. I suppose you set up a tent. You need to have a permit. It looks like that's a group site over there. But you've got other little sites here too, it looks like. Little tables. So nice down here. It is so nice and cool down here. This is truly an oasis. This is paradise down here. So it looks like, from what I can deduce, I was reading some of this information here, and you know, it's camping by permit. So I assume if you have a permit, you just pick a spot and set up your tent. I don't see a lot of people down here today. So dark down here. The shade is thick. I hear running water down here. This is so crazy that this is the inside the deserty part of the Grand Canyon. little structures here. I'm not sure if those are cabins or what those are. So the sign said the restrooms this way, and I think the way out could be this way. But man, the vegetation just gets thicker and thicker, and it's very muddy and slippery here. So I'm having to be careful and watch my step. I am heading back to where I believe the trail is. Huh. Now this is no Colorado River, but this little oasis is a little bit of a destination. It actually is a nice little reward, I think, for coming down this far, and a nice little break before having to traverse that monstrous wall. Looks like there's some more shady pavilions down here, and I think I see the restrooms. Alright, so right now I'm trying to build up the mental state needed for getting back up there. I have no choice. The way this works is you force yourself to come all the way down here, and then you have to get back up. Hopefully by your own two legs. Alright, it's time to head back on up. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. Oh, I'm gonna count to 100,000 by the time I'm done with that. So I'm thinking for part of this journey back up, probably gonna have to make some better time getting back up. There may be storms later today, and I don't wanna get stuck down here in a storm. So I'm gonna pack up the camera for just a bit, make some distance, and I'll check back in with you guys here periodically, let you know how things are going. All right, so I thought I'd check in with you guys really quick. I think you can see down there the green oasis that we were at, the Indian Garden. So I've hiked up quite a ways. I'd say specifically I've hiked, well, it's 4.6 miles down to that. I'm at the 3-mile rest point, so I've hiked 1.6 miles. There you go. So over a quarter of the way back up. All right, I'm at the 1.5 mile stop, so I've come pretty far. Another 1.5 miles since the 3-mile stop, and only 1.5 miles to go. I think I got this. You can see the destination is up there, but I believe it's gonna be wrapped around off to the side there. But you could tell you're making progress just based on the color of the cliff walls here. Another kind of an orangish tan with black streaks. They were red, and they got redder as you went down. Thankfully, I don't think I need to use this today. Maybe some other time. So I will admit, now that I'm more than halfway done with the journey and only have 1.5 miles left, I am pretty tired. This is pretty tough. So it's beautiful and it's something to see. So I guess if you just want something more leisurely, no point in going all the way down to Indian Garden. For me, I'm kind of a completionist and just always set goals and have to do them no matter what. So at this point, still kind of enjoying the scenery, but more focused on getting it done. We'll take a quick moment to reflect. I was way down there just probably a couple hours ago. So there's a little preview of what's ahead. Bunch of switchbacks. Ay, ay, ay. I thought I was closer than I really am, but we're getting there. You could see people on the opposite side switching back, and it goes up that way. Oh man. This never ends. I'm hurting now, right now. Oh man, I am, I guess that's middle age and being slightly out of shape. I'm gonna make it, but I'm having to stop a lot more. And I think I'm gonna put the camera away until I get a little bit further up there so I can just concentrate on getting this done. And I can almost not believe my eyes. I think the end is right up here. Oh, a familiar sight. Oh, the end's right there where I started. Oh, so close. So close. It's the final few steps here. And I did it. Oh, I did it. 4.6 miles one way down. So that's 9.2 miles round trip. Half of it being uphill constantly with no reprieve. All right, as I waddle back to my campground now, I want to give you a few final thoughts about my experience hiking the Bright Angel Trail today down to Indian Garden. Grand Canyon's beautiful. You don't really need to say too much about it. It was amazing, but it did kick my butt. Boy, did it. It ate up most of the day. It probably would for most people if you're gonna go that far. It's now pushing like 4 o'clock. And I started pretty early, probably around 8 in the morning, something like that. And I don't have energy to do anything else or the will to do anything else at this point after that. So maybe if you're in a little bit better shape, you can get it done a little faster than I did. But I think for most people, it's gonna be a pretty full day and that's gonna sap you. Now, why would you wanna do it? Perhaps you're a completionist and you just want bragging rights to say you did it. But also, if you hike into the canyon, you get a lot of photographic moments that a lot of other people don't get because they don't venture into the canyon. And just because those stops exist on the trail doesn't mean that you have to go that far. A lot of people will just hike down a couple switchbacks, get some great photos and head back up, which if your time is short here at the Grand Canyon, I would recommend not hiking all the way down to that point. Hike down a little, get a few shots, go see some other stuff, enjoy the day. But overall, fantastic hike, one of my favorites. And I hope in the future you hike it. And if you ever have hiked it or plan to, leave me a comment down below. I'd be interested to know. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you like that adventure, give it a big thumbs up. Also, hit that notification bell to stay on top of whenever we release new content, which we're doing all the time. Also, you could find us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Cactus Atlas. Well, that's gonna do it for this one. I gotta go rest up. Take it easy, and we'll see you on a new adventure right around the corner.